Okay, so now let's talk about natural language processing, NLP. I will start with a small demonstration. This demonstration is about Python library, which name is PicoVoice. On this there is a little demonstration here where the system is listening to what I say, and I have to say what we call a wake word. This wake word allows the system to listen for the next sentence, and it tried to find some predefined sentences, and I can order coffee. So let's see the demonstration. Hey barista. No, excuse me. Hey barista. A small single shot cappuccino. As you can see, it recognizes that I want a small single shot cappuccino. And to recognize this, I have to first say, hey barista. And now it listens to the next sentence. Hey barista, a large triple shot espresso. Okay, so now we are going to see how a system can understand the language. So the first step is word embedding. So the very first step for a system to process text, text, is to do some tokenization. So the process of tokenization is a process which converts words into numbers. Why do we need to do this? Because neural networks only use neural networks only needs and can process numbers, not words. So we have to find a way to transform words into numbers. So the first step is to divide the input text into what we call tokens. So we have three ways to do this, three ways to divide the input text into tokens. The first one is word-based. It's simple. You get the input text, the input sentence, and each word, like cats are great and so on, each word is a token. So cat is a token, but cats is a token too. And the problem is with this, you get a very large vocabulary because each word, even if with a plural, is a different token. But the main advantage for this is that each token has a high degree of information stored in each token. On the opposite, you have a character-based tokenization process. Here, instead of getting each word of the sentence, you get each letters of the words. So C is a token, A is a token, but space is a token too, and so on. So the main advantage here is that you have a small vocabulary size, but so this is an advantage, but the main drawback is that you have a low information stored in each token because you have a hey here and hey here. They are the same token, but they are here in the word cats and here in the verb air, but it's not the same. So we will do what we call a subword-based tokenization process, which is between the word-based and the character-based. So we will have all the advantage of both solutions. We will have not a very big vocabulary, but a medium vocabulary, and we will get some meaning, not all the meaning like for this word-based tokenization process, but we will get a medium meaning. So after this process of tokenization, for each token, we will assign an ID, a number, a different number to each token. This is a process we call encoding. So let's study how sub-word-based tokenization process works. So the main idea here is that the frequently used words should not be split into subwords, but are stored into an entire tokens. Like, for example, the word cat is not split into different parts. We get all the word cat as a token because it's a word which is quite frequent on the text, but infrequent words, which are not very frequently used, they will be split into subwords, like the word cats, which is split into cat on the S for the plural, which are 2 tokens instead of 1 token. So to process and compute from a text the different tokens, to do the tokenization, we have 3 methods. Here, the byte pair encoding, word piece, and unigram. But we will just explain only one of them. So to do the process of tokenization, we need to be trained on text samples to learn the most common token. For example, for verb in English, you often have the termination of ing for verb. So like for example, heating, we want the tokenization process to split this word into 2 tokens. The token heat and the token ing, which is a frequent token that we can see on each verb in English. So the learning process of tokenization must learn to split each verb in English with ing into 2 separate tokens. Now that we have learned how to use the tokenizer algorithm to compute the token corresponding to a text, let's see how we can use the word or the text and convert them into a vector of numbers, a process called embedding. So the embedding is how we can transform words or text into vector, like this, for example. Here we have a word, dog, and this word is represented, this is the goal of embedding, is represented as a vector of 7 components here, and each component is a real number, positive or negative, which give the value of the component along each of the 7 axes of this word. So each word, like dog, puppy, cat, or houses, can be represented as a point into a 7 degree of space, the space with the 7 dimensions. Okay, so the goal of embedding is to compute the vector corresponding to a word, and this vector must have the particularity that for 2 words which have about the same meaning, like puppy and dog. A puppy is a small dog, a young dog, but it is a dog too. So because they have about the same meanings. They describe about the same thing. The two vectors corresponding to these two words are very close on space. On the opposite, a word like a cat and a word like a house, they have a very different meaning because this is an animal, this is a thing, a building. So because they have very different meaning, their vectors are are not close together. So this is the goal of the embedding, to compute the value for the components of the vector, and this value should be close, so the vector should be close if the word has about the same meaning, and far away on the component of the vector should be like they are very separated, the two vectors, if the words have very different meaning. So here, of course, we can't represent a 7-degree component vector. So we have to do what we call dimensionality reduction, like we have seen in the machine learning algorithm, the one which name is PCA, Principal Component Analysis, which allow us to project a 7 degrees of freedom vector into a 2-dimensional space here. And so we can represent the vectors. Okay, another slide to understand what word embedding is. For example, let's imagine it's not real values here, but it's just an illustration to understand what corresponds the word embedding, to what corresponds the word embedding. Suppose we have this word: man, woman, boy, girl, prince, princess, queen, king, and monarch. And imagine we have 3 axes, okay, like this. The first axis reflects the femininity of each word. So this is this axis here. 0 means very, very low femininity, and 1 means very high femininity. Another axe is Young's here. So along this axis, so 1 means young people, and 0 means old people. On the third axis is a royalty here. So 0 means you have no royalty, excuse me, and 1 means high royalty. So we can see, for example, a princess. The princess has every component to 1 because the princess is a female. It is young. She is young, excuse me. Royalty, she is royal because she is a princess. A girl is about the same, but except that the girl here, she is a female, she is young, but along the axis of royalty, its component is 0. Okay, so here you can see the different 3D points represented the word embedding in this 3-dimensional space for each of the word. So how do we say that 2 words are close together? We will use a metric which name is the cosine similarity. On the cosine similarity, you get the 2 vectors, and you do the scale product, the dot product, and divide by the norm of both vectors. So you get the cosine here. And if 2 vectors are very close together, the cosine will be 1. And if it's less than 1, it means that the two vectors are quite different. Okay. And what is interesting with word embedding is that you can do some vector computation, calculus with vector. For example, imagine you have this a king, so the king is this blue vector. You subtract to this king vector, you subtract the vector man. The vector man is here. So if you subtract to this vector, excuse me, the king is here, and if you subtract the man, you get this yellow vector, this one. Okay, so this is the vector king minus man vector. And now to this vector, if you add the vector woman, which is a green vector here, you add it here, you get the blue vector, this blue vector. So this blue vector is the result of the king, vector king, minus vector man, plus vector woman. And you see that the closest vector is the vector queen. And yes, the queen, she's a king. You suppress the man part of a king, you only get the royalty. And if you add the royalty to a woman, you have a queen. So we can do some mathematical computation with vectors when you have a good embedding for all this vocabulary.